Greetings programs. I'm about to watch the sci-fi action film Tron ARES, which is directed by Joachim Rønning and stars Jared Leto, Greta Lee, Evan Peters, Gillian Anderson and Jeff Bridges. Here's the plot. A powerful AI program named ARES is sent into the real world to retrieve the permanence code, a key to making digital beings exist permanently outside the grid. As he becomes self-aware, ARES begins to question his purpose, igniting a clash between humans and AI over identity, control, and the future of both realities. This is the sequel to the original Tron movie, which came out in 1982, and it was groundbreaking for its time because it was one of the first movies to extensively use CGI. And then we had Tron Legacy, which came out in 2010, and it had its awesome visuals and its absolutely tremendous soundtrack by Daft Punk. Excitement level is very, very high. This is one of my most anticipated movies of the year. I've always wanted a third Tron film, and I'm just so glad we've actually got one to see. And just to give you some idea of how much of a fan I am of this franchise, I've just gone out and bought a Tron ARES jumper, and I'm even wearing a Tron ARES light cycle t-shirt underneath. I'm committed. Now, I have seen a whole bunch of trailers before this movie came out, and they all look really, really cool. Visually, it just looks spot on, and the music just sounds amazing too. We don't have Daft Punk back again, but we do have 9 Inch Nails. And to be honest, I'd never actually heard of them up until this movie was coming out. So I'm keen to see how it's all going to visually play out and sound in the film. One more thing that I'm a bit more unfamiliar with is the director. I've never seen any of his work other than one film, and that was Pirates of the Caribbean 5, which was largely forgettable. Hopefully this is a much more interesting film. This is pretty cool. They've actually got some Tron ARES merch. So they have a cup and popcorn bucket. The popcorn bucket doesn't look that impressive. It's just the bog standard one, but I've already proved that if it's just got Tron on it, I'm pretty much going to buy it, right? And they've got the cup. The cup does actually look pretty cool with the light cycle on the top like that. I might be tempted on that one. So guys, it's just about time to go in and watch the movie. I'm really excited about this. Now, if you have been following the channel so far, do press the like and subscribe button and join us for more content to come in the future. So now I'm going to go in and watch it, and I'll let you know my thoughts after the movie. So the film has just finished, and so I'm going to go over the highlights and then the hang-ups, starting of course with the highlights. First off, this movie looks amazing. Some of the visuals and the action scenes are some of the coolest ones I've seen this year. It was packed full of so much energy, and I really loved the colour. I mean, how you had Legacy had this sort of like blue effect across everything. Here it was done with so much vibrant red. Honestly, I loved it. This was probably the best paced out of all 3 Tron movies. I mean, as soon as the chase kicks in, it's like right out of a Terminator film. And as soon as that starts off, it never lets go right until the end. I did like its story and its theme, where we had AI being used for both good and bad things. I mean, for good things, it was used to like replicate plant life and restore nature. And on the bad side, it was for military control. Now, Tron films have never been one to dive deep into these themes. They've always kind of just on the surface level sort of presented you with fringe ideas on them, but people then explored them in their own minds afterwards. I think some people get this franchise confused with being something that should go deep dive into these themes, but it never has. As a big fan of the original Tron, they were using laser technology in that very first film to digitize an orange. And it was nice to see that progressed and used in different creative ways throughout the film. And I absolutely loved the recreation of the original grid. I mean, a lot of people don't. I've heard a lot of people talk about that film was really dated. I still love it. I think it still holds up. It's got that very arcadey vibe to it. But yeah, seeing the grid back, seeing Jeff Bridges play Flynn again as like a ghost in the machine. And you had like the Tron light cycles and the bit character, the one that kind of goes yes, no. Seeing all those things was fantastic, and they felt like callbacks that were done right rather than just shoehorned in there. What I really liked in the story is where we had the good and the bad side both after the same thing, which was a permanence code, because they already had come up with this technology of bringing AI into reality, but it could only stay in reality for about, 29 minutes before it would disintegrate. And I felt it was used really well. They were using it like a ticking time bomb, so it really created some urgency in the story. Now onto the performances, starting with Jared Leto. He played a security program much like Tron, but for the bad guys, which is Dillinger Systems, which I actually think he did a solid job. Yes, he was playing an AI, a Terminator type character, so he wasn't supposed to be showing a good range of emotion. For what his character was given, I really enjoyed his performance throughout it. And what was really interesting to see was you had this AI being who is going through tasks, and then he starts to see his master, who is Julian Dillinger. He sees how ruthless Julian is with his decision making, and this happens a few times, and this is what leads to him sort of turning against Julian and deciding to go and side with the good guys. And they do basically back his character up against the wall and say, you make this decision or this decision. And I liked that. I felt that was a good enough turn for me from being bad to good. Again, these sort of films, we're not looking for anything. They're not made for any real incredible depth. It's more about the visuals. But yeah, there is a story there. It is light on the story, but that's what they've always been. So I guess it's a case of whether you're a fan of the Tron series or not as to whether that's going to work for you, or whether you're just going to go, no, that's not for me, that didn't work. Next we have Jodie Turner-Smith, who played Athena, who is another AI being alongside Jared Leto's character. And she had that unstoppable machine-like quality, again, very Terminator-esque, and she really sold it. Next we had Julian Dillinger, who was played by Evan Peters, who gave a very, very good performance. He was probably the standout performance out of the whole cast. But every time he's on screen, he was really entertaining, and I liked him from start to finish. Now we have one of my favourite things of the movie was the light bikes scene where they're brought into the real world. Every Tron movie has the light bikes. The first one did it fantastic. The second one updated it for you. And then the third one, just seeing him in a different environment altogether, really sort of stood it apart from those other two films. And what's really interesting was these were practical effects. So it really gave it that tangible quality that made the whole thing more exciting. You really felt the speed of them and the energy that they created. And when you see that big, bright red light come out the back of it and go through a police car, as we saw in the trailer, that is just pure popcorn cinema, the sort of thing that we want to see. And not just the light bike scene, but also the recognizer, another iconic part of the Tron universe. To see that also brought in the real world, the scale of it, and there's a really awesome scene where you have a fighter jet going up against it, and you see how the recognizer is not something to be messed with. They use it in very interesting ways of how it would defend itself. So again, another action scene that I just really, really enjoyed. Now, no Tron film would be complete without a killer soundtrack. In the previous film, we had Daft Punk. In this one, we had Nine Inch Nails. And boy, did they bring their A game. It did not disappoint. It's one of the true highlights of the film. It had its own, as they call it, industrial vibe. I mean, if you were comparing them to Daft Punk's probably had more variance in their score. But in this one, it's just one of those beats that you just like, yeah, you know, like you start like nodding your head along to it, tapping your foot. It had its own vibe that really made it stand apart from the others. It just gave the film a real energy that just elevated the entire film. Hang-ups. Now, of course, the movie was not perfect. One of the probably weaker parts of the film was actually the lead character played by Greta Lee. She plays Eve, who is the one looking for the permanence code for all the good guys. For the most part, she worked, but she was very weak. Some of it wasn't helped by the script. Some of the dialogue that came out of her mouth, it was a lot of exposition, or it was something that just didn't quite sit right with you. So some of that was her acting and some of that was the script. I don't think she just makes for a very, very good lead. But because of all this great stuff happening around her and as she drives the plot forward, I just basically went along with her on that journey, and for the most part I enjoyed her performance. None of the characters were deep in the story. With Eve, you just got like a little flashback just to explain what her motivations were. But that's about it. I would have probably liked to have seen a little bit more, so you actually cared about the characters. You don't care about any of these in the film. Normally in other films that would bother me, but probably because I'm having so much fun in this movie and I'm a Tron fan, I think it's one of those things. It happens in a lot of films. If you're enjoying yourself, you do start to forgive the movie of its flaws. I did like Gillian Anderson's character. She played Julian Dillinger's mum. and where Julian would make these very rash decisions, he would be there in the background sort of saying, hey, wait a minute, that's not good, that's morally wrong. And I would have liked to have seen more from her character, because then that way when decisions are made, I think they would have carried a lot more weight behind them had we just seen her on screen just a little bit more. Not a lot, but just a little bit. Final rating. At the end of the day, Tron ARES is a popcorn movie in the best sense. It's visually stunning, it's full of energy, and it's backed by an awesome soundtrack that really immerses you in the world. The story was very paper thin and the script was a bit shaky, but as an experience, it totally delivered it for me. And that's why I'm giving Tron ARES 4 stars. If you're a long-time fan of the series like me, there's a lot to love here. If you're just a fan of Tron Legacy, there might be a few frustrating things. There are nods to things that happen to do with characters in that story to sort of set up for the next film. And if you're a complete newbie to the series, I think you're going to feel lost or disconnected from the whole thing. Have you seen the latest Tron film? And if you have, what did you think of it? Did you really, really like it, or did you really hate it? It's been a very divisive film. And for you, where does it sit in the Tron franchise? Is it the best one or the weakest one? Let me know in the comments below. If you made it to this point in the video, do press like and subscribe and support the channel. And you can also check out the other content that I have for everything surrounding movies, including movie reviews, movie locations, movie attractions, and lots more. I want to thank you again for watching, and until next time, I'll see you at the movies.